Hello everyone, this is Erik, the Asian movie enthusiast, and this is my review of Visible Secret, a Hong Kong horror comedy from 2001 that stars Eason Chan and Shu Qi. It was directed by Ann Hui. I feel like I need to give a disclaimer near the beginning of this review. I am not a fan of this director. This may come as a surprise to some fans of Hong Kong cinema, but I'm one of the few people who will say that Ann Hui is kind of mediocre, and dare I say, horrendously overrated. Now, I'm unfamiliar with her earliest work, dating back to the 70s and 80s, which apparently had quite a bit of social commentary, kind of jump-started her career. But if I look at her filmography near the turn of the century, I'm seeing a lot of overpraised titles. And I would say this for movies of hers that I actually kind of like July Rhapsody, Goddess of Mercy, and A Simple Life are all pretty good movies. But things like The Way We Are, The Golden Era, and The Postmodern Life of My Aunt, I thought were just kind of run-of-the-mill and kind of boring, really, despite having a few legit Hong Kong actresses in the lead roles. I've never really understood the acclaim for this director, and she has received an insane number of awards over the years. There's just nothing about her directing style that's intriguing or interesting to me, like at all. Even when her movies are watchable, like a few of the ones that I mentioned that I liked, they're just so blandly presented. I would say she's at her very best, she's adequate, is the best compliment I could pay this person. So, despite all of that, I did purchase, I think I have it right here. Oh yeah, I did purchase the recent Blu-ray release of Visible Secret. You know, and as we all know, I'm a big fan of horror movies, and I usually enjoy horror movies more the second time I watch them. And also, I like the actors who appear in this, so I figured I'd give it a second chance because I was somewhat confident I would like it more. So did I enjoy it more? Well, let's see. So here's the plot for you. Peter, a hairdresser, meets June, a nurse, at a disco one night, and she becomes his girlfriend. She claims to have a spiritual third eye, which allows her to see ghosts. As they become closer to each other, Peter starts to encounter visions of ghosts himself. After a vacation, she befriends a boy in a neighborhood, and one day they visit the boy's house, and Peter is horrified to see that the boy's mother is under attack by two vicious ghosts who are fighting for possession of her body. Things go from there. Now, I will say this. I do think the opening scene is one of the better moments in the film. Anthony Wong has a cameo in that scene, which is pretty neat. It's kind of a ridiculous moment, but it's a nice way to kick things off in horrific fashion. The scene is actually kind of fun, so the film does get started off on the right path, okay? Unfortunately, I think most of the other scares in the film are just kind of underwhelming. There are a number of ghostly events, but they're pretty cliche, short-lived, and lacking in depth. And it's actually kind of difficult to remember a lot of them. They're pretty forgettable scenes. They don't really feel like set pieces per se, with the possible exception of the one scene where Kara Hui attacks our protagonist and Eason's getting thrown around a little bit. I did kind of like that moment to an extent. But in the majority of instances, I was left with the feeling that I was watching just kind of a mediocre horror flick, perfectly in line with what I would expect from this director. Now, the overall story, it's pretty lacking, very mediocre, run-of-the-mill. It's just not that compelling, and we've seen this type of story a million times before. Characters aren't really all that well fleshed out, and I don't know, they're just not interesting to me. Despite the fact that we do get some good performances in here. The acting is good. But a lot of these issues create pacing problems as well. I mean, this is only 90 minutes long. It feels longer than 90 minutes. And that's a rarity when I say that about a Hong Kong movie with this runtime, The comedy element, it's okay. I mean, there's a scene involving an old man who bites Sam Lee's nose. A kid gets his ear cut while getting his hair cut, and his mom freaks out. I feel like I was supposed to, laugh at these scenes, but they're just not that funny. I do like the payoff with the girl at the in the train, though. That was, the best gag of the movie, so to speak. But again, you get this mix of, oh, there's a few pretty good moments here, and the rest of it's just kind of bland. In terms of aesthetics, I do like some of the nighttime shots that have high contrast between bright lights and black night. I'm always a fan of that. And there are some nice shots of color at times. There is a little bit of atmosphere to this film, more than you would typically expect from this director. And it's still not enough to win me over overall. Also, one random thought. Shuchi's makeup is more horrific than the scare scenes in the movie. I'm not sure who was responsible for the makeup and the wardrobe. This is by far the worst I have ever seen Shuchi in any movie ever. And it's not even close. I mean, I can understand if you're trying to match the makeup with the character and, trying to do that type of thing, but her eye shading is so over the top, it was distracting to me. Like, every time she would close her eyes, I would lose track of what's happening on screen. So I don't know what was going on there. But, I'm just not a fan of this director. I'm just really not. I just cannot recommend this movie. Obviously, if you're a fan of the director, check it out. I just gave you, it's, like I said, this release was from Radiant Films. And it's multi-region. It's region A, B, and C. So, and it does have subtitles and some special features and stuff. So I guess if you're a fan of the director, pick it up. It's a very limited release, and it's not going to be reprinted, apparently. So definitely jump on that fast if you're a fan. But yeah, this one did not come through for me. And as always, folks, I'll see you next time.